Hello, hello, hello there, beautiful Brown Girl family. Welcome to another episode of Brown Girl Boss. I am your host, Kimberland, and I'll do a whole official introduction and such in just a little bit. But while you all are coming on here, I want to give you some instructions about what I need you to do, honey, because I am so excited. So excited about this show that we have tonight. So the first thing I need you to do is start introducing yourself in the comments. Let me know where you are joining us from. Also, let me know if this is your very first time hanging out with me on Brown Girl Boss. If this is your very first time here at BBG TV, I want to know that as well. So go ahead and start doing that for me. Also, tag some of your people. Okay, because if you have any women who are in your life who are 20 years and older, get them in here. Tell them to come on in here. We got something that we need to talk to them about. Get them in here. Okay. So I need you to do that as well. I need you to go ahead on and tag your people. Let them know that you're here and let them know what you're watching, as well as share the broadcast on your page. Tonight, y'all, we talking about menopause. Y'all see how I did that pause? That was like pun intended. But tonight we're talking about menopause, real talk. And I actually manifested our guest tonight because I personally was having questions and wondering what this next phase of life is going to look like. And I really didn't know what to do with that. I was like, I don't know the thing. So I made a post on my Instagram page and I was like, hey, I need y'all to tag a menopause coach, right? How about one of our former guests, Alicia Beeman? She tagged a menopause coach, and here we are, like manifested this whole thing. All right. So, having said that, the reason I'm telling you that is because this is a divine connection. Okay. So, y'all gonna see this energy, okay, when sis gets on screen because it's everything. So, I see y'all checking in there in the comments. Please keep doing that. Please keep introducing yourselves. Please let us know again where you are watching from and pause the broadcast and tag some of your friends. All right. Okay. Now, having said all that, y'all, let me do my official welcome because everybody might not be a seasoned person here, right? This might be your first time and you're like, girl, what is this? And who are you, right? So, good evening. Welcome to BBG TV, Brown Girl Boss. This is our virtual platform that allows us to connect you with other like minded women who are on a mission to live their very best lives and change their slice of the world. We come to you weekly with programming that will challenge and inspire you and get the conversation going to connect with other beautiful brown girls. My name is Kimberland, and I am coming to you all from Medellin, Colombia, in South America. If you want the deets on that, honey, you're going to have to go over to my IG page over at Kimberland J to get all of that info about why I live in Medellin. It's all there. But at any rate, I am an educational activist and an intuitive melanated life coach. And I am also your host for Brown Girl Boss. So again, I am really, really, really excited about the show tonight. I do want to call out a few folks that are here. I see Elise is checking in from New Jersey. She said, I've been here before, girl. Well, welcome back. We are so excited to have you here. Also have Quintessa is here checking in from New York. Also been here before. See, I love this. I love that y'all are yes, yes, and some more yes. Also have Kay checking in. Hey, beautiful. Excited to have you here with us. So you all continue checking in the comments. Continue letting us know where you are joining us from so that we are able to acknowledge you and build community, y'all, because that's what this is about here at Beautiful Brown Girls. We're all about building community and really making sure that we are connecting you to people, right? We spend so much time being disconnected, and we want to make sure that you are connected. So having said that, just a little bit about Beautiful Brown Girls. We're all about sisterhood, support, and self-care here at Beautiful Brown Girls. Everything we do centers around creating authentic friendships, swapping stories and experiences, and really just sharing and creating a safe space for women who look like us, right? We are active locally and globally. We have over 43 chapters in the States as well as abroad, with almost 100,000 women who are connected to this movement. As you are here, I know that you will enjoy the content, and you might be saying to yourself, I've been looking for this sister circle. Where y'all been at? Okay. So I also want to make sure that I tell you about our VIP members network. Now, our VIP members network is our very own place where we are able to be free from the algorithms and all the things trying to hold the brown girl down. And we really have the opportunity to be able to connect on a deeper level without worrying about the gaze of others. So you can join our members community by going to tinyurl.com/browngirlboss. I just dropped that link into the chat for you as well. All right. So also, we need y'all. This is live, right? This is interactive. So I'm gonna need you to make comments while you're here. I'm gonna need you to give us some reactions, okay, while you were here, like share the broadcast and such. All right. So interact with us. That's my point. Talk to us. We're here for you. And while we have our guests here, we want to get all the questions answered that we are able to get answered. All right. So while we're here, you're enjoying the content, let us know by talking to us with some reactions and some comments. Now, I haven't said that, y'all. Let me go ahead on, child, and introduce our guest, honey, because y'all don't need to keep hearing me talk. Y'all needs to hear from her. Okay. So Sharee McCants is our guest for tonight, and she's our menopause girly. She's an experienced and passionate women's health coach, specializing in helping women navigate the phases of menopause and beyond by offering education and providing tailored support to help women navigate their unique challenges. Adding further value to her already comprehensive services, she's also a certified personal trainer, a level 1 nutrition coach, a strong fitness coach, and a circle instructor, creating a vast knowledge to draw upon in terms of movement programming that restores balance, enhances joint mobility, and increases muscle recovery. And if that wasn't enough, y'all, soon she's going to add a certification to be a level 1 sleep, stress management, and recovery coach. Basically, what we want you to know and what sis wants you to know, honey, is she got qualifications, okay? Like she does this, okay? So we need to know that, all right? Now, Sharee is also a native of Cleveland, Ohio. She's a mom of 1 and a lover of Jay-Z and Beyonce in that particular order, okay? She also loves to dance. Her favorite movie is Sparkle, the 1976 version. And y'all, tonight she is here to hang out with us. So I want you all to go ahead and welcome her in the comments. Okay, again, get these questions ready. Okay, because if y'all don't ask them, I'm gonna ask them. I'm just saying. Okay, all right, let me get her in here. Hey, beautiful.
I just got to say this because I always got to explain myself. The Beehivers, if y'all in the place to be, I love Beyonce, okay, but I just love I love Jay just a little, just a smidget more, okay? So don't come after me, Beehivers. Don't come after me. I'm going to see Beyonce, so.
Look, she was like, don't come in my comments with the bees. No, like, don't do it. Just clear the record. Cool. I'm glad we got that out the way because we don't want no problems, Sharee. You know, we want to make sure. No, I am so excited that you are here. I know I have said that a few times, and I mean that from a very real place. I'm really, really excited that you're here and that we were able to get this divine connection to have you share this space with us today. Because, girl, I got questions, okay? So if you will, can you start us off with your journey about how you even got into this menopause coaching? Like, how did this even become a thing for you? Start there for us.
Yes, it is an honor to be here. Again, thank you so much. I feel like I've said that, a handful of times as well. What started me to really thinking about menopause actually was in my late 30s. So I have alopecia, which is why I rock this bald head. And as a result of that, I went through a very huge state of depression. And my form of therapy became going to the gym and lifting weights independently. So I wasn't going to classes. It was just a way for me to go into a space, put my headphones on, block out the world, and just do my own thing. And as my body started to change, I was like, okay, I got this bright idea that I wanted to be a competitor. Okay. So I became a bikini competitor. And that kind of led my path to this new career of coaching. Okay. So became a competitor, started coaching, got my certification as a personal trainer to start coaching. And I wanted to coach everyone. So I was coaching men and women at the time. Few years went by and I realized that my body was starting to change. And so I was like, wait a minute, hold on here. I'm doing all the things. I'm eating well. I'm lifting weights. I'm stretching. Like I'm the bill of health, right? But still, my body wasn't changing the way that I was used to it changing. So started having some health issues that started creeping up. And I was like, okay, let me go to the doctor. Had this horrible doctor that I went to, and they pushed some drugs to me, and I'm not a drug taker. And I was just like, nope, this isn't it. But as I realized that I was knocking at 40. And I was like, could this be menopause? But no one has said that to me. No doctor has said it to me.
So you just kind of thought it like in your mind. You were like, yeah. I wonder.
And I was like, well, you know, I am 40. And that is around the time where symptoms can start to show up. And so in that moment, it was like, okay, Sharee, you have to start changing some things. Even though you're healthy, your body is beginning to deplete a few things. And so because of that, you have to shift also. So we're so conditioned to doing the same thing, thing.
Right.
And then when it doesn't work, we're in a frenzy.
Because what else is I'm supposed to do?
Right. Because what else am I supposed to do? But having that knowledge base and that background of understanding the body in itself, it was the yellow light to say, okay, Sharee, you are aging, right? And if you want to continue to age gracefully, you can't continue to do the same exact things, because the body is amazing. It's smart. So after a while, it's like, oh, sis, I got this. Yeah. I know what this is. And it has no reason to adjust, right? And so as I'm looking at myself, like, okay, I am at the menopausal age. And I started looking at coaches that were around me. And I started looking at, other menopause coaches. I'm like, how are you coaching your clients if you're not talking about this?
Because let me tell you, Sharee, I'm sorry. I just need to, because I didn't know that this was a thing. I just knew that I had questions, right? I'm 42. So I'm 42. I don't have children, and honestly don't want to be pregnant. Like I love children and I don't mind raising a child. I just don't want to go through the process of pregnancy. But like you said, like things start happening. You're like, I wonder if this like changes in my cycle I've seen, and I'm like, well, I ain't never had cramps. Like I was blessed. I grew up, I didn't never have cramps, but baby, oh Lord. Like so there were those things that were kind of just bubbling up. And I started asking myself, like you, I wonder what's happening here. And then that made me say, I wonder if there's someone who does this, like if they coach people through this because sis got questions. So somebody got to answer the questions, but I didn't know even where to go. So to your point of saying, you ran across menopause coaches, but they still weren't talking about it. Like, how we need help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are a ton of questions that are not answered. There's a lot of chatter out there.
Mm-hmm.
Then recently, Oprah Winfrey did a whole segment called The Life You Want, and it was all about menopause. She had a huge panel. Even Erykah Badu recently was quoted in an article talking about menopause. She just turned 52, I believe. And even today in New York City, there was a huge summit about menopause and how do we shift. I think it was called Shaping the Future of the Menopause Transition.
Mm-hmm.
So there are conversations being had out there, but it's the way that they're being had that I'm just kind of like side-eyeing, like,
So that though, right? Because even I was looking at the way that this was before I talked to you, right? So y'all, I always meet with my guests before they come on, right? Because we gotta like feel energy and build rapport and vibe and stuff, right? So before I had talked to you, I had created like the flyer and stuff to put out and like wrote the copy and stuff. Today or yesterday, as I was preparing for the show, I looked at it and I was like, even the way that I framed the wording was like, if you got y'all been, because child, we going through, like it was just framed. It was framed in a way like this is dreadful and I don't know what to do with this and I'm not looking forward to this and what exactly is this supposed to be. Like that was how I framed it and I didn't even realize that, but that's based on the type of stories that I have been told or the type of stories that I've heard about this thing called menopause, right? So I want you to answer for me. And I also want you all to answer in the comments because this is also going to help us determine where this conversation is going to go. What stories have you all been told about menopause? All right. So I want y'all to answer that in the comments. But Sharee, to you, what were the stories that you were told? Because you said, like, I'm seeking, I noticed that there's something happening. I'm seeking out people, but they're not really saying anything. Like, what pre-existing stories did you bring into this process?
So first I'll start with the family unit because I think that's our first line of exposure, if you will, to pretty much anything in life, right? Your family unit. So my mom comes from a very big family. There are 16 children total out of one union. So I got a lot of aunties. Okay. And a lot of aunties. And of all the aunties that I have, all I can really attribute to like my knowledge base, if you even want to call it that, is somebody is hot.
Yep.
Somebody is always hot.
We got that.
Open up the window, turn on the fan, air conditioner got to be on, and really that's it. As I got older and started to interpret things differently, it was not just somebody is hot, but somebody had a surgery, right? Mm-hmm. That was my mom. Mm-hmm. But that was really it. It wasn't until I started doing the research myself, realizing that I'm getting older, I'm aging, and this thing I know is coming up, but am I of age to really be experiencing it? Because when you're in your 20s, are you really thinking about your health at 40?
Not at
or
all.
At 50 or at 60, 70, 80? No. So it was really doing that deep dive of seeking information and seeking understanding that I had to own myself. To say, okay, what is this thing called menopause and what does it really mean and how is it going to impact my life? But also, how can I own this?
Right.
we got to own it, because
Yeah.
each and every woman is going to go through it.
And that's the thing that's so crazy too, right? Is to your point of not talking about it, not having information. Every single woman is going to go through this. Every older woman has gone through this. Why don't we have the information?
Because I think just in women's health in general, we have been shunned or under supported in all things regarding our health, right?
Yeah.
Even from like saying that we're in pain, and let's not, Black and brown women especially, you dare not say that you're uncomfortable or something is bothering you. It just goes through history for forever and ever, that unfortunately that's just how our country has been conditioned to, in the lack of support for women, especially women's health. And then you add on to that Black and brown women, right? And so that is a challenge that we have to overcome in itself. But then it's just that vulnerability of saying that this thing is happening to me, and how to advocate for yourself.
Yes.
So that when you're at a physician's office, that you're not shut down. Yeah. And I'm sure there's a bazillion stories of that happening.
Yeah. One of my sorority sisters is a doctor, and she also is one of the reasons why I was like, I need to find someone who can talk about these things, because she had all sorts of issues that resulted in, okay, you need to have a partial hysterectomy, like you need to do this. And she was trying to figure out what was going on, like what is happening with me. And she said to herself, maybe I'm starting to go through the process of menopause. And she's a doctor.
Yeah.
She's a physician. So that much more for us who don't have, that scientific knowledge, or we haven't connected those dots to really understand what's going on. We just going with whatever they tell us because they went to school for it. So I guess that's what's supposed to happen. And God forbid if you have a doctor that doesn't look like you, then now there's that added layer of bias that is involved in that.
So two things that I'll say with that is that we assume that because someone has doctor before their name, that they're trained in all specialties. And that isn't the case. Most physicians don't have a vast knowledge of menopause unless that is their
target
niche,
demographic.
their target.
Yeah.
Unless they decide that this is what I'm going after, and they seek to have additional education, they have basic knowledge pretty much like you and I.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
And so what we have to do when it comes to being accountable for our own health is we have to do a lot of the legwork. That means that if you're a person where your cycle is normally like clockwork, and suddenly you're realizing that you're missing cycles, or your cycle is just different, maybe it's heavier or lighter, because it can go either way, that you begin to document that. And it doesn't have to be this long drawn out. Just get you a calendar. I like to say old school because that's how my mom taught me how to track my cycle when I first started having a cycle, is your little calendar that you carry in your pocketbook, and you mark off the days. Now technology helps us out. You can keep it in your notepad, or make a little notation in your calendar. However it works for you, we have to start being more accountable and really tracking the different things that are showing up. So when or if we have to go to a doctor, we can say very matter of fact, this is what's happening and this is how I know. Because I guarantee you, once you're able to really go in depth about your own health, it's going to force them to pay attention.
Yeah. I feel some sharpening there on that, because I don't do that consistently, right? But I do it in other areas. I have not done it in this particular area. I'm very good about tracking when my cycle is coming, what's happening during my cycle. But other times when it's not my cycle time, I feel like I'm on break. I'm like, I don't have to worry about these things right now. But I feel the challenge from you, because what I know and what I used to talk to my students about, and I was a middle school teacher, so I taught 6th through 8th grade, and it was very important to me to teach them about their bodies, because they didn't know, and they had so many misconceptions about not just sex, but just their bodies in general. Like, they just didn't know. So I'm feeling challenged, and I am going to honor this challenge in you saying that it's important for us to document, because how else will I know when something is wrong if I don't understand when it is right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. You said it perfectly. And because there are so many symptoms that can be attributed to the menopausal phases, and every woman is different, right? So we have to start really paying attention and making note of when things are showing up that may seem odd.
Yeah.
Like, having a hot flash. How many times are you having a hot flash? Do they happen in the morning? Do they happen in the afternoon?
How do I even know if it's a hot
evening?
flash though, Sharee? Like, that's how I'm like, am I just hot right now? Like,
Sure.
or how do I know it's a hot flash? Like, what?
Yes. So, ladies, again, I'm asking, don't come for me.
What you about to say?
we got the Jay-Z and Beyonce out the way. I'm asking for another pass. I've never had a hot flash before. I will celebrate my 49th birthday in October. However, I've had night sweats.
Now I've had those.
And I didn't start having night sweats. My mom passed away. It'll be 2 years in November. And after my mom passed away, I was in the process of planning her arrangements, and I started having night sweats. What I can say, because I know myself very well, is that those night sweats was because of the amount of stress that I was under. I've had probably 4.
And how much of time?
And
like a 2-year span since 2 year, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
2-year span. And they weren't like egregious, but because I'm not a sweater and I am very rarely hot, I'm one of those that when I woke up and I was like, what is this? And I was like, okay. First time, it could be a fluke. Second time, I was like, okay, this is definitely a night sweat. And so those are things. And again, I journaled it just to keep track, because had it continued on, and I didn't recognize that like the first time I didn't attribute it to stress. I really had to, I went through it again, and then it was like, okay, what's different here? What's going on here? And I was not sleeping well, not moving my body the way that I had been practicing prior to. I wasn't getting a good rest, because I was just, I was in grief mode. And so I was up at ridiculous hours of the night. I was sleeping a lot during the day, and it was just, my body was just all over the place. And so once I acknowledged what was going on, it was like, okay, how do I mitigate this a little bit as much as I could? But understanding that, one, I'm grieving, so I'm gonna have to just go through this process. But there was a connection, and that's really what it is what's the connection here, and how do I dissipate it, as much as I can. So when I talk about the hot flashes, like just making note of when they show up. If it's anxiety, when is it happening? Is it happening only while you're at work, or only while you're at home, or a combination of the two?
So anxiety is a symptom of, really?
Yes.
I need you to run us down a list, because listen,
it's a whole list. Like, there are so many symptoms. And again, we have to think every woman is different.
Right.
So the way that I think of menopause is how I think of when girls get their first cycle. Some girls have their cycle early, right? I'm talking late middle school, early junior high, like 6th, 7th grade. And then there are some girls that don't get their first cycle until they're in high school. Same situation. Some girls have heavier bleeds than others. Some girls are like clockwork. Some girls are not. Same thing. Some girls get, their breasts are tender while they're on their cycle, or even, at the beginning. Some girls don't. Menopause is very similar to that. Hormones are going opposite directions.
Right.
Right. So when we're just getting our cycle, when many years after that, our hormones are on the upswing. And as we're going through menopause, our hormones are on the downswing.
I'm trying to do so many, because listen, I was trying to ask the community, what symptoms have y'all been experiencing that you might be unsure about? I want you to put some of those into the comments. And also, though, people are saying things like they've experienced different symptoms, but they've gone to their doctors, and the doctors are like, "You're fine, girl. You're fine. You're totally fine. Everything's fine." As well as just not knowing what is linked to menopause and what's not. So like Elise said, her eyes tear up without warning. And is that like, so I know everything is different for everybody, but your girl has found herself to be extremely emotionally connected to things, right? But also I'm on this intuitive journey, right? So I'm like, maybe I'm just closer to Jesus, and that's what's going on. I don't know. So when you say eyes tear up without warning, is that just that they're watery, or is that like actual crying? How does that manifest for you?
So I can relate to that one, which is funny. So I've been going to the eye doctor off and on for about a year. I wear contacts. I also wear my glasses sometimes. What I realized is that I need a reader version of a contact lens.
Girl.
Because I'm just at that age.
Girl, it's blowing me. It is blowing me. I already can't see. Now I got down to read
right. And so, not that I'm vain, but sometimes I want to wear my contacts and sometimes I want to wear my glasses. But technology has not advanced enough to give you the reader version of a contact, right? And so we've been playing with this prescription to the point where I was just like, press pause, literally. I'm just going to rock these glasses and come back at a later month, because I'm tired of all this trial and error. The contacts were giving me a headache, and it was just a bit much, and I just didn't have the patience. So, but when I realize is that I have a new contact prescription that seems to work for the most part, but my eyes water a lot with them. And that didn't used to be the case.
Interesting. That is interesting.
It's so interesting, which can be attributed to a menopausal symptom. I do see in different blogs that I follow, podcasts that I listen to, that other women have said the same thing. Another one is like skin just being really dry. Brain fog. Yes.
It's a lot of people saying brain fog here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this one is a tough one, as well as like anxiety. And here's why I say that is because we've all experienced a freaking pandemic.
Right. That's why when you said that, I was like, wait, because I was diagnosed with anxiety in 2021. And I just made a post recently because I live in Colombia, right? So I'm like navigating a whole different country and all that. And I was like, I think I have social anxiety. Like, I feel like I don't really be trying to go outside for real. Like, it's a thing. Like, I got to prep myself. But I'm thinking, well, you live in a new country. So clearly, like, I'm not fluent in Spanish. So sometimes my phone be acting up. Like, all of those things could cause anxiety. So to somebody's point earlier, it's so hard to know what is and what isn't.
Yes. And this is why I revert back to, we have to really start knowing our body and paying attention, which means that we have to slow down, which means that we have to do a lot of self-reflection, self-care, so that we can understand the differences between what is and what isn't. When we talk about social anxiety or just anxiety, period, crying, yes, we have to think also that we pretty much were in lockdown for 2 years.
Yeah.
And what that has just done to us all socially, you know, and working through that. And if you've had any tragic events during that time, navigating through those things as well, or if you've just had other shifts. And so when I think about menopause, it's not just menopause, period, no pun intended. For me, it's menopause and aging, health, and wellness, because we are all transitioning in some kind of way, or we're recognizing that life, the way that we planned, may not have rolled out the way that we first saw it. Girl. And I will always speak in I'm getting ready to be 49. I'm an empty nester. I have a 23-year-old that lives in a whole nother state. I've never been married before, and that's a desire for me to be married. I lost my mom. I have one parent left, you know, who my dad's health is relatively well, but we're not the closest. And so it's navigating through that emotion of, I have one parent left, you know, and mending the relationship as much as I can. It's also the fact of, because I am an empty nester, I get to do and be wherever I want to be, you know? And so it's the thought of, I've lived in one place my entire life. Is it really time for me to try something else different? And all of those things create a lot of emotion. Yeah. Some of them good, but some of them not so much. And all in the same, I got to work through that. But I also recognize that there's other women out there who are in similar boats, no matter what the story is. And our hormones are doing the most, right? And so we're trying to make sense of the physical, but we're also trying to make sense of all the outer things that are happening as well. So menopause is not just night sweats, hot flashes, and weight gain. It's so much more. And it goes beyond that, because once we've hit that official menopausal phase, there's still many, many years of life that we get to live and we get to celebrate it. But I shouldn't say but, and we also have to figure out how to have a healthy body so that we can celebrate as we continue to age.
So I love your reframing of aging, health, and wellness and putting it into that context. Because as you said, we're every day we age, right? So it makes it a little less daunting, if you will. For me, I'll speak for me, that it makes it feel a little less daunting. So I appreciate that reframing. What I wonder is, and I know that you're a health coach and I know that you hold retreats and things of that nature. And to this point that you were just talking about self-care, is something that we're really, really, really big on here at Beautiful Brown Girls. We talk about it all the time. We are constantly creating spaces to attune to our self-care. What would you say to the folks who are watching and the folks who are going to watch the replay would be the first place to start with that self-care process as they are processing this aging, health, and wellness? What would be one of the first places that you would say to start?
So in this space, I feel like we haven't had the practice of health in general. So start small, and you get to choose what that small effort is going to be. If you feel like you're pouring outward and you're never pouring inward, start there. Just take 5 minutes. Black out everything. No one gets to disturb you. Set that healthy boundary that vocally you're saying to the people that are intimately in your circle, I just need 5 minutes to be quiet, space, wherever you can find it. If it's sitting in the garage in your car,
wherever.
Because I get it. I'm an empty nester, but I raised a 23-year-old, and let me tell you, she never let me slow down. So I understand if it's the car that you got to sit in for 5 minutes, start there. If it's movement, if you feel like you're not moving your body enough, and I'm not gonna, call you out and give you examples, but if you haven't moved your body for whatever reason, you sit behind a desk, you work from home, whatever the case may be, take a 5-minute walk and gradually increase that. If it's how you're eating, and your body is going to tell you, if you're constantly having hot flashes, look at what you're putting in your body. If you're not able to sleep at night, look at what you're putting in your body. Okay. Just pick whatever it is and don't overcomplicate it. If you got to put everything that I said on a little piece of paper and put it in a jar and just pull every month, you pull one out and that's what you focus on, let that be it. But we have to start somewhere, especially if, movement, if self-care, if nourishing your body isn't already in your practice, then we got to start practicing it. And it doesn't equate to perfection, but just a constant practice. Yeah. Yes, my closet is my quiet space.
Wasn't I just telling you about my closet before we got on here? Aisha, Sharee, and I had a whole conversation about the closet and how that it be lit in the closet.
Yes. And communities like this, I held my first in-person retreat this past Saturday, and that retreat was called Revive and Rejoice. And I had this vision that women needed a space and time to just come and be. Yeah. We had very slow movement. So we moved our bodies for about 40 minutes, but it was very slow, intentional movement. And we had a session just like this to talk about menopause. I answered questions. I, described the different phases of menopause. And we had a vegan lunch together. And I told women, if you don't want to move your body and you just need this space to use as a getaway for you to lay on your mat and do nothing, fall asleep, then you get to do that. If you are moving your body and something comes up and you want to journal about it, that's what you get to do. And the women loved it. They absolutely loved it. And we closed with a meditation.
That sounds so beautiful.
And a dance party, because we always got to dance.
Always. Okay. We had a sister circles in April, and we talked about, our theme for April was physical fitness, and we talked about intuitive movement.
Yes.
And listening to your body and going through that process. And it's something that I've been getting into, right? And really studying as I lean into this intuitive practice. And it was so different for the ladies, and the ladies were like, I like that.
Yes.
Right. I liked listening and allowing my body to tell me where to go and what to do. So I really appreciate that is a part of that experience that you create of giving folks the opportunity to be able to connect in that way. Like I really, really appreciate that. So I did want to ask you to highlight one thing before we kind of land this plane. You had said something to me that I have been saying to other people, and they had the same reaction that I had, right? And I want you,
know what you're about to say.
Because, okay, so you said to me, Kimberly, we should really start preparing for menopause in our 20s. And I said, girl, what? And every single person that I have said that to, since you told that to me, has had the exact same reaction. Why, Sharee, should we start preparing for menopause in our 20s? Can you please connect those dots for us?
I sure can. Dots are being connected. So here's why. So it'll go back to when you first started your cycle and how you were taught to care for yourself. We really weren't taught how to care for ourselves.
Correct.
And so at 11, 12, some of us, we have this cycle that has changed our life from that moment until. Most often, we're not in the practice of taking care of our bodies and our health. And I'm not talking about taking a shower, making sure you're clean, how to care for yourself when you're on your cycle. I'm talking about being mindful of our weight in a healthy way, nourishing our bodies in a healthy way, moving our bodies in a healthy way, self-caring for ourselves in a healthy way. And so by the time we're in our 20s, I mean, there's the freshman 15, because we're not taking care of ourselves in a healthy way. And so this is a practice, again, not perfection, a practice of how do we care for ourselves in our 20s, because that practice is, for the most part, going to dictate how we care for ourselves and how our health hygiene is going to influence certain things that show up in our 30s and on and on and on.
This makes so much sense, just because some of us learn about this process of adolescence and puberty, right? And it's like, once we get through that, then that's kind of it. Like, there is no additional program instruction. Like, this is what happens in your 30s. This is what happens in your 40s. It's like that was it. That was it. So we just winging it, Sharee.
Yeah,
we winging it.
Yes. And really, and I always knew that, and I couldn't I was struggling with how to reframe it. And my 20-year-old kind of gave me the light bulb moment. So my daughter, she graduated from college last year. And I remember asking her, like, are you excited? And she was like, yeah, but Mom, I'm scared. And I was like, why? And she said, because up until now, I've had a roadmap. I've been given a blueprint. Right. You do this, 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 and this, and then you move on. You do this, 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 and this, and you move on. You check this box, you check this box, and then you move on. And she's like, I got this college degree. What am I supposed to do now?
What is I supposed to do, Lord? I understand.
And so to your point, we're taught adolescence, but we're taught the very, 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 very bare minimum. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And so I always say it's a practice. It's a practice that we get to do often, not perfect, but often. And sometimes where we focus the practice is going to shift. But we still have to incorporate that practice.
I'm just processing, I'm listening, and I'm also appreciating the grace that you're giving, because you continue to say this is a practice, not perfection. And I appreciate you saying that, because we are also used to putting a lot of pressure on ourselves about getting things right. So I was just now, I'll be very honest. This is what I was doing. I was pretending that I was at your retreat and that you were guiding us through a guided meditation. And I kind of got a little lost, because I was like, yes, it's a practice. And so I'm like saying that to myself, it's a practice, not perfection. Yes. Like you need to, that's what was happening just now. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the grace that you extend, and how you are framing this in a different way for us to be able to not be terrified, walking into this process, and actually embrace that there is, as you said, still life on the other side of that. We do have a couple questions that I wanted to highlight. Let me go back and find where they are. Oh my gosh. Okay, so one was Tianda. She said, how does a woman who has had a partial hysterectomy know they are going through menopause, or do they even go through it?
So the answer is yes. Women who have had a partial hysterectomy do go through menopause. And I'm assuming you still have your ovaries when you say partial. I don't know if she's still there. When you have a full hysterectomy, it forces you into menopause, which simply means, and so let's just put definition to what does it mean to be officially in menopause. So officially in menopause means that you've gone 365 days consecutively without having a cycle.
Okay.
So on day number 366, you are considered postmenopausal forever and ever until you transition to another space. Okay. And so you can miss a cycle for 7 months and your cycle can come back and the clock starts all over again. Okay. So if you're having a cycle, you are still considered perimenopausal. Menopause is only one day. It's that 365th day that you've gone consecutively without having a cycle. And the very next day, you are postmenopausal, which is why I say menopause and beyond.
Okay, thank you for that clarity.
And that is the definition from the North American Menopause Society.
Wow. Okay. All right. That was big. Okay.
Yes. I know. I'm gonna let you.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wait. It's on my face. I know it's on because I'm like, my brain people are like.
I see the brain people, girl. They coming out their earphones and everything. They marching.
I was really processing that in real time.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Oh.
Yes. So my philosophy is very intentional based off of what research has defined for us, which is why I consider it very problematic that there are health and wellness coaches out there who are coaching women in their, I know I said 20s, but specifically in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, and they're not having conversations with their clients about menopause, because it does have an impact, and it's just not that phase. It's so much further beyond it.
Right. Speaking of talking, Kay said, we have several talks as Black children. How would you suggest starting this talk with the younger women who are in our lives?
What I would start with is just explaining to them how their hormones work, which is a lesson that probably, unless you're in a biology class or taking nursing classes, preparing to either be a nurse or a doctor, we haven't really had a lot of conversations about. So simply just saying that, your cycle, the cycle that you have is because your body is preparing to potentially carry a baby. And if there is no sperm that is connected with the egg, you have that shed of the lining. As you age, that process becomes that much more challenging because our hormones are starting to deplete. So the age-old saying, what is it? Her biological clock is ticking.
It's ticking.
That's where that comes from. Again, our hormones when we're younger are on the upswing. Our hormones as we age are on the downswing. So her biological clock is ticking is where that comes from.
Girl, this has been something. Tell the people what you have going on right now, how they can find you, how they can work with you, how they can get into your healing spaces of your retreats. Honey, talk to the people about how they can find you. Okay, please.
Yes. So retreat, I just had my first one, and I was told by my sister circle to sit down and relish in the success of that. But there will be, there will be another retreat happening, and I haven't figured out where it's going to be quite yet or when, but to keep up with that, I have a private Facebook group. So if you just go to Facebook and hashtag hot flashes, and hot is spelled HAUTE, flashes, all one word, you can keep up with us there. And what else do I have going on? My website is gethot.info. You can connect with me there. My social, which I'm mostly on Instagram unless I'm going live in the Facebook group. So Sharee_I am. And I believe there's a link for a free download to Plan to Pause, which is a little ebook that I put together that goes through the different phases of menopause. It gives you some journal prompts in there. It gives you some self-care tips and things to be aware of. So I think it's pretty neat. And if you want to connect with me, there is a calendar invite that, I believe there's a link for my calendar, I should say. And I am offering a 30-minute chat. So we can talk about your concerns, your questions specifically, because again, I recognize that every woman is different and different things show up for us, which is why ultimately I don't really do like group coaching. And also, I understand that it's a vulnerable space. Even though we're trying to knock down barriers, I still recognize that these conversations are challenging, and I consider them private until you say otherwise. And
Yeah, I definitely understand that
yeah.
and appreciate that. I do want to grab this one question. Lakeisha said, what can we do to ease the symptoms? Supplements, nutrition, like what types of things can be done?
So I always go with, this is a really great question. So I always side with natural ways versus supplements or medical remedies, if you will. And so it really just depends on what symptoms you're having, because the symptoms are so wide. If we're talking about, like, just going to throw this out there, like joint pain, slow movement is going to be your best friend. So trying to stretch, again, starting off small, 5 minutes, find you a good yoga video to watch and really just start stretching and moving your body. Slow at first. We do need to lift weights, ladies. Okay. We do need to do resistance exercises. Okay. We cannot cardio ourselves to death. Okay. And so really just finding a good fitness regimen that you can practice is going to be your best friend. If it's hot flashes, night sweats, things like that, I say start with what you're putting into your body. And here's the easy way. As we are aging, we're losing muscle. So if we're not practicing building that muscle, we are losing it. Okay. And so how often are you eating? If you are only eating one meal a day, let's start with increasing that. If you realize that you're not really eating protein, let's start there. Each of our meals should have a protein source, and that doesn't have to come from meat. It can come from other places. And because our bodies are changing and our hormones are changing, certain foods may no longer agree with you that did agree with you before. And that can include healthy foods, right? So just paying attention, again, going back to that notating, if something is disrupting your stomach or your digestive system, paying attention to what you're eating. Maybe that food choice isn't the best for you, even though it may be a whole nutritional food. Okay.
Yeah.
What else can I say? Eating the rainbow. So our vegetables, our fruits. Fruits are not bad. Okay. Berries are our friend. Okay, because they have a lot of antioxidants in them. So you want to start there. And I always lead with starting small. Okay. Don't try and throw the baby out with the bathwater and, I'm just revamping my entire life. That doesn't work and it's not sustainable. Okay.
Heard. I'm one of those people, I only eat one time a day, and sometimes that's a stretch. I have gone 2 days and have forgotten to eat. So I know. Okay, I know. I'm gonna do better. Okay.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be this whole elaborate. So I have this thing, I call it a messy parfait. So, when you go to like the grocery store or your favorite restaurant, it's all pretty and layered, and don't nobody got time for that.
That ain't real life.
Don't nobody got time for that. I just need the stuff to make it from the refrigerator to the bowl to my stomach.
Period.
Okay. So we get caught up in, and social media can be horrible at this because we have these influencers who all they do is put together really cute, pretty, eateries, plates, what have you. Don't try and do that.
So do not try. Let it go.
Do that, okay? Start small. Okay. So, Kimberlyn, I'm gonna need you to at least eat twice a day.
Yes, ma'am. I receive it. I take instruction. I got it.
Yes. And if you're busy, but you're trying, a protein shake isn't going to hurt you. Try a vegan protein shake. Chocolate pretty much camouflages the taste of pretty much anything. So put some cocoa in there and get it in, because that's your protein source. If you got extra time, try and make a few meals at a time. So at least, if you're preparing breakfast, you have 3 days of breakfast already in the refrigerator. All you got to do is grab it and go. And again, it could be messy. It doesn't have to be pretty, because once it goes in, it's messy anyway. So who cares?
Yeah. Man, girl, this has been, I'm like, we got to have her back. We got to do something else. This has been so insightful. And empowering, right? I really just, I can't wait to go back and watch the replay. Because, I'm working and I'm like here, but like, I don't want to be actively here. I want to be like actively receiving like the people in the comments, right? So I need to go back and watch this, because you've said so many things that have just made me think about how I have thought about aging, and the stories that I've been told about aging, and just really unpacking all of that. Also to your point of starting small, right? And not giving ourselves grace in this process. Y'all, I'm modeling what my things are that I'm taking away for tonight. I want y'all to put what you're taking away from tonight into the comments, please. That's also a way to hold ourselves accountable and really put out into the atmosphere what it is that we're receiving and how it is that we want to show up differently. So if you all can do that, I would really appreciate that. One thing that you're taking away from tonight. But it's been so much, Sharee, and I really just appreciate everything that you have shared. Y'all, I really want you all to leave this space and run over to Sharee's spaces. The links are there in the comments. We will repost them. So we've got somebody in the comments, they'll repost those links for you so you can join the Facebook groups. You can go to the website, do the discovery call. It's free. It's a free ebook, y'all. Free.
Download the ebook. Yes. There are some gems in there that we didn't get to touch on. Some journal prompts that will get you to thinking about, we have to have a plan in place for this journey that we're on. The plan gets to change as our seasons change, right?
Yeah.
But at least it's a start for you to start thinking about, okay, what is it that not just I want for my health, but what do I want for this next phase in my life?
Yeah. This is so good. Okay, so I want to do a quick commercial break, and then we'll be done, y'all. All right. So I want to make sure that you all know how to get connected to us. We had a few folks that were on here that had not been affiliated with Beautiful Brown Girls before. So I want to make sure that you know how to find us. So the first thing that we want you to do is go to our website, beautifulbrowngirls.com. There you will be able to learn more about Beautiful Brown Girls, learn more about our organization, really get to see if there's an in-person brunch chapter in your area. This is where you can find out the things and what we about and what we're talking about. From there, we would love for you to like us on our Facebook page at Beautiful Brown Girls, as well as on YouTube at Beautiful Brown Girls. Also, we have a Facebook group called Beautifully Shaded. We're on Instagram at Beautifully Shaded and on Twitter at Beautiful Brown U. Again, if you've been here tonight and you're saying to yourself, child, I need some more of this, like y'all talking that truth. This is what we do here at Beautiful Brown Girls. So we also want to remind you that we have our members network. where you are able to have deeper conversations. It is only $49 for the year. And y'all, just if you get the brunch discounts, you are already coming out on top making money. Okay. So this is an amazing way for you to get connected to the community. So do that at tinyurl.com/brown-girl-boss. I will drop those links into the chat in just a moment, y'all, for Sharee's stuff as well as for Beautiful Brown Girls. Also want to do a quick programming note so that you all know what we have coming up here on BBG TV. Our next episode of Brown Girl Boss is going to be with Portia Brown. Portia is a sex coach and educator. So she is going to be coming on to talk with us about reconnecting to our bodies. Y'all see this theme here? We've been talking about this quite a few times, right? Reconnecting to our body, making sure that we are paying attention to what's going on, tapping into our pleasure, all of those things, right? So that's going to be on July 12th. Also want to remind you that we have Brown Versations every other Monday at 8 p.m. right here on our Facebook and YouTube pages. So that will allow us to be able to have some shenanigans. You know what I mean? Like, we be needing some shenanigans, y'all. Like, that's a thing. So if you are wanting to be informed, but also wanting to know about the different things that we do here at Beautiful Brown Girls, and you want to laugh, child, come join us on Brown Versations. It's a good time. So then while you're out there clicking around that stuff, child, stop by my pages, okay? I'm over there at KimberlyJackson.com on Instagram. You can find me at KimberlyJ and at Minding My Black Ass Business. I got a whole lot of shenanigans going on in my world as well. So again, if you up for that, honey, go ahead on and holler at me over there. All right, Sharee, you get one last thing to say, child, because you done said a lot. One last thing that you get to leave with the community. What is it that you would like to say?
I saw this in the chat, so I'm going to ask permission to have two things to say.
Okay, two things. Go ahead.
So someone put in the chat, ladies, don't be afraid to lift weights. And this is very true. What I will say about that is that your weightlifting experience should be progressive. So if you've been playing around with those 15-pound weights for 11 years, it's time for you to work on increasing that weight. Again, our bodies are very smart, okay? And it's muscle memory. It's going to get used to that weight that you've been using for a very long time, which is why it's so important for you to get a coach that's going to help you to create a progressive program for you. Okay, so that's that. You will not look like a man. I've been lifting weights for a lot of years, and I know I don't look like a man. So that's that. The other thing is reach out to me, have that conversation one-on-one, so that you can get those questions answered, or at least have the discussion so that you can really create a path for yourself. This journey is not overnight. So we can't go into it with the mindset of, let me just get through menopause and then I'm good. Let's not have that mindset, because it's a false mindset. Okay. Let's go into this thing with a plan, and I can help you with that plan.
All right. Tell them one more time where you are on Instagram.
So Instagram, it is Sharee I am, or Sharee_I am. I'm sorry. So Sharee, SHAREE_I am. And on Facebook, if you just type in hashtag hot flashes, and you will find the private Facebook group.
Awesome sauce, y'all. Everything is in the comments. The conversation does not stop here, right? We can continue commenting. Y'all can continue tagging people. You can continue sharing. Okay, I know that you know somebody who needed to be here. Okay, go ahead and tag them. Tell them to get in here. Share the broadcast, y'all. We need to do our part to make sure that we are empowering our communities. So y'all help us out by doing that. Again, go over to Sharee's Spaces, connect with her, click the links, get the ebook, download the things, watch the replay, take some notes. Listen, y'all, Okay.
Do all the things.
The things. All right. So having said that, we are going to go. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Thank you all for sharing the broadcast and letting folks know. Sharee, thank you for everything that you have laid at our feet. You are officially a part of the Beautiful Brown Girls family, honey. You are not going to be able to get rid of us, child. So listen, make sure you keep us posting on everything you have going on so we can amplify it. Thank you. Just thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for reaching out. This too was a prayer that has been answered. Amen. And I just look forward to what you do in your community. And of course, if there's anything that I can do to support, I certainly will. Thank you, ladies, for joining in and for having me in the good conversation. I couldn't really keep up with the comments because I didn't want to keep looking down, but I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to go back.
It was a lot going on in the comments, and that's what I love about our community, baby, because they have a whole nother conversation over there. You can go see what they're
But I'm going back.
Same. So y'all will see us there in the comments. So again, let's keep this conversation going, y'all, and let's continue to empower each other and hold space and grace for each other as we all age. All right, y'all. We'll be back on Monday with our next episode of Brown Conversations. It's on July 3rd. That's the day before the holiday that we don't really celebrate, but we get the day off, so we're going to take that. But that day before, come hang out with me and Sav over at Brown Conversations. And then our next episode of Brown Girl Boss will be back here on July 12th. That's all for now, y'all. See y'all later. Bye.